Okay, boys and girls, we're on lesson 84. What happened to my thingy? Um, analyzing prisms. There you go. Lesson 89, analyzing prisms. I just said 84. All right, so our objective for today is to identify congruent parts of a geometric solid, and we're also going to identify parallel and perpendicular faces of geometric solids. Here's your math vocab for today. It's just prism, which is a solid with parallel congruent bases, which are both polygons, and the bases must be oriented identically. So I'm going to explain to you what that means in just a sec. All right. Here is your math joke for today. I used to think math was useless, but then one day I realized that decimals really do have a point. All right. So your new concept for today is a prism is a 3D solid with two congruent bases that are regular polygons. Okay. And so what we have here is here's a triangular prism, a square prism, or it could also be known as a rectangular prism, pentagonal prism, a hexagonal prism, and an octagonal prism. All right. And here's another view of what we're going to be learning today is the different types of prisms. Here's a triangular prism. It has 6 vertices. Remember, vertices are the points, okay, where faces meet, and it has 9 edges. 9 edges are the lines that could move along here. Okay, rectangular prism has 8 vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the other side 1, 2, 3, 4, and then also has 12 edges. Okay, so every long line that goes across is an edge. Okay, and you can see here trapezoidal prism has 8 vertices, 12 edges. Pentagonal prism has 10 vertices, 15 edges. A hexagonal prism has 12 vertices and 18 edges. And then an octagonal prism has 16 vertices and 24 edges. All right, remember the edges are these lines, the vertices are the points where the lines meet. Okay. Now notice that there's weird lines here. These are called tick marks, and these tick marks tell us that these lines are congruent, meaning they have the same size and the same shape. All right, and so these lines are all equal, and then these two lines are equal. And notice that they're not equal with this side, and they're not equal to this side. So, meaning that only these two lines are congruent. Okay. Now, let's go to example number 1. Which prisms A through F have parallel rectangular faces? Well, look at the faces that are, look at the shapes, okay? If we look at the triangular prism, you can see that this face right here, it's kind of like a darker blue, is not parallel to this side on this side, okay? The other side. It actually meets right here. So even though this is a rectangular face, this isn't considered as a parallel because they meet each other. They touch each other on the edge. Okay. Now, if you look here at this rectangular prism in figure B, we can see that all the faces are parallel in the rectangles. All right. You see that there's a rectangular face here, and it's parallel to this side, and then we have one on top which is parallel to the bottom. Okay, so all of the faces of this prism are rectangular and they're parallel. Okay, you can see here with this trapezoidal prism that they are sloping, and if they continued on they would eventually meet each other. All right, so parallel faces never meet and they never will. Okay, they're side by side and they don't lean at all. Okay. Example number 2, which prisms A through F have congruent rectangular faces? So if you look at letter A, this triangular prism has 2 rectangular faces that are congruent, this side and this side, and we can tell that from the tick marks here on the triangular prism. Okay, that this line is even to this line, and so their faces on each side is equal. All right, because the prism and the triangle in the back's got to be the same size as well. Okay, here on letter B, we have 4 congruent rectangular faces, one on top, one on the bottom, and one on each side, the left and the right. Letter C has 2 congruent rectangular faces. Remember, we look at the tick marks because they make sure that these lines and these lines, they tell us that they're equal in length. And so we can tell by those tick marks that these rectangular faces are equal. Now on the bottom here, all of the rectangular faces here are all equal because they're all regular polygons. Okay. Now look at this figure. Does it have perpendicular rectangular faces? Remember, we're looking for faces um, that connect with each other, right? So the bottom face of this triangle or triangular prism is connected with the side right here, and they form a 90-degree angle. So the two sides of the triangular bases are perpendicular, therefore 2 rectangular faces are also perpendicular. Because they connect right here and here, we could tell that the bottom and the side um, are perpendicular. Whenever they form a little L, we can tell that that's forms a 90-degree angle. All right, and that it is perpendicular. All right, here's your lesson practice for today, A through G. And just answer all the things you can. You're going to name A through C, and then let us know how much, the perpendicular faces that um, this one has, how many perpendicular faces. So how many form a 90-degree angle. In letter E, a rectangular prism has how many parallel sides? You could just use this one. And then F, a prism in problem C has how many edges? So you're going to count all the different edges in letter C. And then in letter G, you have to explain whether or not if this is a prism. Okay. Remember what the definition of a prism is. Okay, and let me go back to what the definition of a prism is, which is a 3D solid with 2 congruent bases. Okay, so decide whether or not that last one is a prism or not. All right, if you have any questions, write those questions down. Don't forget to do your math vocab and your 3 takeaways for the day. All right, have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.